Okay, so live on Facebook. How exciting can today get?
Mm-hmm.
So hello everyone and welcome to Monday. Happy Monday wherever you are. Hope you're well. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to come into the group. Obviously, you know that today the early bird closes, the offer for the program. So if you're interested, now is your time. And I just wanted to bring someone in to talk today to give you some insights. Now, this lady I've been working with through the program and one-to-one, Nicole Poser, she's a conflict and communication coach. And she really did not like sales very much, but obviously loved what she did. So Nicole has come live to chat to you really just about her experience, just for sort of 5 or 10 minutes, and just tell you how she experienced the coaching and the sales training and everything that came with it. So welcome, Nicole. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me here. I'm very happy to support your amazing training.
Good. And, you know, this is really, I know that everybody says things like this. They're like, oh, it was, you know, it's a game changer. That was one of the words that you used actually when you wrote the testimonial. Yes. So I am actually quoting you. And they say it's a game changer. But how was it a game changer? But before we move into that, just tell us a little bit about what you really didn't like and why you joined.
Well, if I can rewind actually a little bit, because I first joined your challenge, and like some of the other members of the program came in just thinking I need a little bit of help with my sales technique. I just don't really know what I'm doing. Like throwing mud at a wall and seeing what sticks. And I realized on your 5-day challenge, A, the amazing value you brought, but B, how little I knew about what was involved in sales. And sales used to sort of freak me out a little bit, you know, that whole word, all the connotations of it, what it brought up for me was very icky. You know, it felt pushy, it felt uncomfortable. It was always something that I didn't think I was good at, or that I liked. I was repelled by the word sales.
Yourself, yes.
And you know, when you start a sales call like that, it's never going to go well. So it was always, I always had that feeling of when I started the call, almost not just uncomfortable, but almost apologetic for when I got to the point about asking or being asked what my fees were or what I charged, because I just didn't have the confidence because I felt uncomfortable about being pushing myself onto people, which is what I hate about pushy salespeople. So it was just mirroring that. Yes, exactly.
It's a horrible feeling, and nobody wants to feel like that. I think that's like that's the chief problem. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. And obviously, I'd never heard that word before I came into this industry, because I was like, what do you mean salesy? What's salesy? Yeah. Having come from like 20 years of corporate sales, we didn't talk like that. We were happy with it. You know, we were enjoying ourselves. So it's been quite interesting to meet all the women along my journey the last few years to see really how much they hate it. But also that made me want to be a part of changing that, because unfortunately we get caught with these like hangovers, what I call the hangovers of sales, or having had a bad experience. It's like anything in life. If you've had a bad experience around it, you kind of take that forward and then you map that onto everything else that you do. So in the challenge, you realize, this is not all I perhaps thought. And did it surprise you how much was in the mindset and the belief system and all of that? Because I think that's where it gets really juicy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. You know, that mindset thing is massive. And being a coach myself, I was quite surprised that I hadn't clocked onto that. But obviously you don't know what you don't know. So even though once we went through the program, it made total sense to me. I'd never applied it in a sales conversation. So you know, the approach to it, the energy, something that I still think about so much is the difference in the feminine and masculine energy, which people haven't yet done the program, they might not know exactly anything that I'm talking about, but it's about the energy that you bring and not just of yourself, but when you get to the difficult parts of the conversation, recognizing that you need to bring a little bit of the harder energy, the masculine energy, versus just that soft feminine energy. And as a coach, I have a lot of soft feminine energy and very empathetic and always, using curiosity and asking questions, but not having enough of the, if you like, I know
fire.
It's more tough, the fire. Yeah, I was about to say tough, but it's not tough. It's just bringing that sort of.
And it's interesting, even now, sort of sometimes, those words, they come back to us so easily, or, that hard energy or that tough, but it really with the masculine energy, it's like, it's the fire, it's the initiation part, it's the asking part, it's the being confident to position what you're doing. And then because you're confident with that, saying, are you happy with that? Does that feel good to you? Are you happy to go ahead? And that's just like a little bit of fire, just a little bit, just like a match, really. But you just need that match to kind of light the candle. And if you think about it that way, then obviously that is really, I think, an example of the masculine and the feminine balance, because I think a lot of women feel like they've suddenly got to have to write, get my shoulder pads out, and this is because I'm going to do sales now.
I'm going to do sales.
I'm doing it, because it's got that it's got that active energy around it. It's something I'm going to do, but actually it's not. It's really just the same. So you can continue to have empathy, you continue to use all those, and you learn all of this, and kind of what happened as a result in terms of how you felt in your mindset, and that call that you had after you came off the program. I can't remember quite when it was, but
earlier in the year, that one. Just it felt natural, actually, because I realized that I wasn't pushing myself onto that person. I was, and I know you talk about you're serving and solving a problem for your client, and so that mindset shift as well sort of gave me the confidence that I'm going to help you. Here I am, I'm helping you. So when it got to that point of what do you think about this, or whatever words I chose, it felt quite natural, because it flowed. It wasn't suddenly, okay, so what do you think about this? It was just, it felt like an easy flowing conversation, rather than something that, oh God, here comes that question now. Do you want to?
It's almost like you can feel it brewing sometimes, can't you? And it is. And again, we talk about, I give you, I'm not one for scripted sales, but how did you feel around learning the actual process and the steps of selling? And actually I did give quite a lot of scripted resources and things like that, which, if you remember, during our group, one of the ladies was like, oh, I could never say that, I can't, she was quite anti their scripts, until realizing that you take them and you've got to understand the intention of the questions, where you're going and where that fits in with the stage of the sale. And so you kind of, you mix and match those, or you say them your way, but you do need to have the framework. So did you enjoy learning it that way?
I really did. Those questions were so helpful. I think that it's interesting you mentioned that particular bit, because I remember at that point where we went, you gave us a script and looked at the questions. I thought, again, that doesn't sit right with me. And then you said, well, actually, change that into your own words so that it feels and sounds like you. And once I did that, I was like, oh yeah, that's so easy. That's because I think a lot of the time when you follow a script that doesn't feel like you're not aligned with it. So you're, well, me, my instant feeling is to reject it. And with the way you presented it, these are examples of the kind of questions you can ask, and take the ones that feel right for you, adapt them. And that was perfect.
And that's the thing, it's like you're trying things on for size. Let's try that on, that question, and you say it and you're like, no, I would never say that. So what's the intention of that question? Well, I need to know XYZ. I need to know what their secondary needs are. I need to know something deeper. So, but I think I'd rather ask it this way. So the questions are just the examples of exploratory and where you need to go. So understanding that process is, well, it's key, really. And obviously it made a difference to you. And if you like a process, then it's just great, because you can feel your way through the discovery call. So yeah, so I mean, that's interesting to explore that, isn't it? Because I think these are common things that people would feel. What did you feel about the style of the training mixed with the coaching?
I mean, for me, it was
You like
perfect.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked it very much.
liked it a
I
lot.
liked it a lot. Liked it a lot.
Good.
No, well, I mean, first of all, I've always said this, you go above and beyond, and in that training program, I've never done a training program where you're given so much, but not in an overwhelming way. So, we have the resources to support everything you everything you train, and then the coaching afterwards, which helps to clarify bits that we might not be clear about, or to explore them further. So I love that combination of it, and I still refer back to the resources, because
Yeah, because you get lifetime access, which is lovely, because it's a lot to take in, isn't it? I think as well, when you do any program, I've got programs that I'm still accessing now, lifetime, and there's still bits I haven't done, or what I want to go back and do again. And so I think that's really important that you don't just get kind of booted out at the end, because different people can assimilate information at a different pace. So yes, you move through it, but then it's like you do need to revisit and go back. And of course, some people like yourself continue to work in that way, in that one-to-one way, because so much comes out of that as well. You're like, oh, you find some really juicy things. So just to wrap up, what do you think that you learned about yourself most during that program? Because there is kind of like an element of self-awareness, certainly self-leadership, not just sales, really. There's a lot in there.
No. I think there's probably 2 or 3 things. One is about the energy. For me, it's about, as well, before the call, I think I would, previous to the training, have rocked up sort of feeling very uncertain and insecure about the whole thing. And of course that comes across in how we show up. So I was already on a sort of the back footing before I started. So that to me has been part of that game changer for me, is, being, before you start the call, having the right energy. There's another thing we haven't discussed, but I really found very interesting, is it's okay to say no if it's not the right fit with someone. And that might sound like a negative, but that's something really important, because it made me understand you have to work with the right people, otherwise it's never going to work. So in the process that we learned with you, learning all the right questions to ask in those sales calls will actually help you to get to that point, to understand, is this the right fit for me? So it's, yes, of course it's about making a sale, but it's also recognizing if it's the wrong person for you to work with. And I remember a coaching client last year where I missed a beat in some of those questions, where she said something along the lines of she'd had lots of coaches before, and that should have been a red flag to have sort of explored that further. And there was obviously a reason why, when I started working with her, I realized that. So there is a lot to to learn from asking the right questions in the right way. So that was really important for me as well. You're not just there to sell yourself, you're there to understand that you can both give something to each other. You're there for both. It works both ways.
And that's really important, isn't it? Because you end up with a client that's not great. And of course, let's just caveat that. It's not that the client's not great or that they're wrong, but it's that match that's not going to be right. So if you're selling a program, or even if you're selling a one, whatever it is you're selling, you don't just want to like nail the numbers and get the people on the course, because it's not about that. It's about getting the right service for that client. And if you need to change it up, or you need to say to them, do you know what, I don't think that you would be a great fit for the course. And that has happened as well. And I've been really honest about that, because you can tell that it's just not quite the right in point for whatever reason. Do you know what I mean? Or they may know a lot of it already and maybe only need a part of it, or they need one-to-one work for another reason. And so you have to be brave enough to be able to say that. And of course, when you detach from money and thinking about it like that, it really helps. So yeah, it's interesting. And of course, I have to say, because it was true, at the end of your round, everyone was quite, sorry. And it was
Yes,
the end, wasn't it?
it
And
was,
we've got a
absolutely.
group coaching program
Yes.
that obviously I offer after and you carry on with, that everyone's still, well, there,
Part of,
the majority of them still there. But it's a nice learning environment, isn't it, to be with other women.
Really nice. Very very supportive, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So much to be learned from others, you see, so it's nice depending on your style. But so thank you, Nicole. I think that gives is there anything you'd like to say that we haven't covered as a last little nugget, or anyone that's thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, do the training 100%. I've done quite a few masterminds and trainings, and this is definitely the best I've ever done. And yes,
thank you.
I am biased because I work with you on a one-to-one, but I mean, and interestingly, when the program ended, I chose to work with you one-to-one without even thinking about it, because I just realized the value you bring, and how it's helped me over the last year. It's been a year. Gosh.
Amazing. Yeah, well, the time flies, and of course that does always show you that there are not quick fixes, because we've got years and years of programming as well, and years of fears, and the way that we've done things, and all of these, and it takes time to unlock all of those, really. So I'm more of that incremental type, that would rather sort of go deeper, change the things slow, and then start seeing those results as well. But sales doesn't have to be slow. As soon as you've nailed it, you've got it. You're like, oh, let's try it out. So it's putting all the pieces together. But you again were an absolute perfect fit for the program. But the funniest thing is that you weren't remotely interested, were you, in buying it at the beginning? You just sort of come along to the challenge, and I'll see. And obviously we knew each other.
Yeah.
So you came along, and I thought, oh, that's nice to see you.
I rocked up. I thought I'd support you, maybe learn, as I said, learn a few tips, might be useful. Here I am, a year later. Wow.
Amazing. So when it feels right, it feels good. So
exactly.
Thank you, Nicole. You're amazing to have on the cohort, and a wonderful client as well. And thank you for coming in here and sharing with anyone that wants to listen about this.
So join the program. Join it.
Well, come and talk to me. If you're not sure if if it's quite right for you, don't be scared to explore. I think sometimes a lot of people, when coaches open their spaces to talk to them, like, oh, I don't really want to say anything, or maybe I don't want to book a call. But you're definitely not going to get pressured into anything by me. That's not how I operate. And just having that space to talk about where you are and what you might need is super valuable. So that's available as well if you want to come and have a chat. Otherwise, I will bid you a happy Monday evening, and we'll speak again soon. All right, thank you so much,
Thanks
Nicole.
a lot.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.